Hello, we're going to be ranking some Rush albums. Yeah, I'm just jumping right into this. All right, so here we go. Whew, I'm excited for this. You guys excited? I'm excited. Here we go. All right, so I guess we're starting in chronological order. Also, I might have to change this to... Actually, before we get started, let me just do something real quick. Hold on. Give me a minute. I guess we'll keep this guy red, and then we'll make the new guy, this guy purple. There we go. S+ tier. And no Rush album is in F tier, so we're going to delete this guy. So we have D, C, B, A, S, S+, because there are so many great Rush albums. I'll give you a hint. There are 6 Rush albums that are going to, or 7 Rush albums that are going to go in these two top tiers. Then we're just going to have to split them, and we'll just see. But let's not waste any more time. The first album. No Neil Peart. Yow! Okay, I'm just kidding. John Rutsey really is an underrated drummer. His drumming is pretty damn good on this album, if I do say so myself. I mean, it's really good and really underrated. Too bad most of the songs suck. I'm sorry. Okay. This album is mid. It is so mid. I'm sorry. It just is. Geddy and Alex, did not know how to write at this point. Or at least write amazing hits. Now, there are 3 good songs on this album that I really like. I like Working Man. I like Need Some Love. And I like the opening track that I can't think of right now for some dumb reason. I like those 3 tracks, but I'm sorry. This album has In the Mood on it. Therefore, it is automatically terrible. I never want to hear Geddy Lee sing Hey Baby ever again. You know what In the Mood does? It does not get me in the mood. It gets me out of the mood, bro. This album is going into... Well, listen, you may think I'm putting this album in D or C tier, but you know what? It's still a Rush album at the end of the day, and it's still got amazing instrumentals. Just the lyrics are a bit whack, so we'll put it in B tier. But anyway. All right. Next album, Fly By Night. Okay. All right, listen. This is the first album with Terry Brown producing. First of many. And he does a great job producing. This is also the first album with, of course, Neil. So automatically, it should be an A tier. Duh. But I don't think this album is S tier. I really don't. It is A tier. Let me tell you something about it. Some of the songs on this album are mid. I'm sorry. They really are. Listen, In the End is great. Anthem, as a fellow Ayn Rand fan, great. By Torn the Snow Dog. Woo! And, of course, the title track. Woo! Great songs. Everything else, though, is kind of mid. But honestly, those songs are so good, especially By Torn the Snow Dog. This album just has to be an A. Durr. But, okay. Everything from Caress of Steel to Signals is going in these top 2 tiers. We just have to figure out which of the 2. It's like the better of the best. You know what I mean? So, I think we're going to place Caress of Steel in S tier. I don't think it's going to go in S+ tier, just S tier, but still incredible. What the flip? 2112 has to go in S+ tier. Durr. Feral to Kick. Durr. Hemisphere. Durr. Permanent Waves, I'm actually going to put in S tier. I think Permanent Waves is a little bit lacking, especially because it's in between, Hemispheres and Moving Pictures. It's just, compared to those 2 albums, it's just not as good. You know what I mean? I do love Jacob's Ladder and Free Will and Spirit of Radio and Natural Science. But I just think those songs just don't live up to the incredibleness of these 3 and Moving Pictures, which we're going to put in S+ tier. Now, I know some Rush fans are going to get mad at me, but Moving Pictures is their masterpiece. I mean, it just is. The best instrument playing, the best instrumentation, the best songwriting, the best vocals from Geddy, perfectly matching his higher, more screechy vocals at the beginning of Rush's career and his more mellowed vocals that we'll get to in a second. Perfect, absolutely perfect. The songwriting, perfect. The production, perfect. Everything about moving pictures is perfect. I don't care that it's their most popular album and that, Tom Sawyer. Listen, yeah, I do get a little sick of Tom Sawyer being played every 5 goddamn minutes. But it's a masterpiece. What can I say? I mean, Red Barchetta, YYZ, the Limelight, the Camera Eye, Witch Hunt, Vital Signs, even Tom Sawyer. I mean, every single song on here is a goddamn masterpiece. So yeah, S+ tier. Anyway, Signals. Some Rush fans would prefer this album be in D tier because it marked the beginning of their more synth era. I am not one of those fans. It is going in S tier. It is an amazing album. Signals, despite many people even to this day not knowing it, in my opinion, Signals was actually Rush's first concept album. Not Clockwork Angels. Signals, if you listen to all the songs and pay attention to the lyrics, it is a concept album. It's a concept album of people trying to live in a new technological world. It is a concept album. They just didn't market it as it because, well, by 1982, concept albums were really out of style. So, All right, I think everyone can agree that these 7 albums should definitely be in, the top tiers. Now we're going to get into probably the most divisive era of Rush. Their 80s era. At least their mid-80s era. Specifically these 2 albums. A lot of fans would put these guys up here. Some fans would put these down here. I'm both. Grace Under Pressure is a C-tier album. Don't get me wrong. There are some amazing songs on it. Absolutely don't get me wrong. I mean, Distant Early Warning, that is one of Rush's best album openers. What a fire song. But I just don't think that the album is all that good. I'm sorry. I think Grace Under Pressure is kind of like Signals, but worse. Pretty much. And it's also kind of like Power Windows, but worse. And yes, Power Windows is pretty top tier. Is it Fly By Night level or any of these other albums level? No. But I'd actually argue to say it's equal to or better than the debut album. It's really good. I'm sorry. Grace Under Pressure, they didn't really know what they were doing with all these synthesizers, but by Power Windows, Geddy, Neil, and Alex figured it out. I mean, Mystic Rhythms alone puts this album all the way up there. I don't care if there are some Rush fans that are like, you need to put it in S tier, and then there are going to be some that's like, what are you talking about, man? You're going to put it in D tier. I'm putting it in B tier. Cry about it. All right? Oh, boy. The next album. These next 2, I'm just going to do this. And move on. Oh, yeah. Yep. Moving on. I don't want to talk about those 2 albums because doing it will just make me mad. Basically, the way I can summarize these 2 albums is Rush tries to be new wave and miserably fails. So, yeah. Roll the Bones, 1991. Oh, boy. Some Rush fans love this album because it's the return of Alex and his guitars. And hey, while I love Alex and his guitars as much as the next guy, this album ain't no Permanent Waves. It ain't no 2112. But it is mid. It's B tier. I'm sorry, it's mid. I Roll the Bones, dude. Come on, bro. Dude! I would disagree with that. But hey, I can see why people love it. It's just personally not for me. All right, 1993's Counterpoints. Basically just a worse Roll the Bones. Rush tried to go grunge here and alternative rock, and Rush, please never do that again. Never do that again, please. I think Rush realized that was an idiotic decision, and so they didn't try it again. But hey, there's some good songs on Counterpoints. I'm not going to lie. All right, here we go. This is by far the worst album by Rush. I don't think any Rush fan did. I think Rush fans will disagree about, a couple of these 80s albums and 90s albums. I think every Rush fan can agree that Test for Echo is their worst album. I'm sorry. Test for Echo is the only Rush album I would actually consider crap. The only one. Even these 2, I wouldn't consider crap. Okay? Yeah, they're bad, but they're not crap. But Test for Echo? What? Test for Echo? More like testing me to see how long I can listen to this album before my brain explodes. Good God. And this isn't Rush's fault. They were dealing with some really serious stuff at this time. So this isn't Rush's fault. It just happened this way. This is just how it turned out, and I'm sorry. It's the worst album Rush has ever made, and they took a long break from this album, and for good reason. Well, that's not the reason they took a long break, but I'm glad they did, because when they came back, holy boy. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of Vapor Trails. I don't care what you say. It's going into A tier. I love this album. And, you know, this album showcases some of Neil's best drumming. That's right. I said it. Best drumming. I'm a huge fan of Vapor Trails. I think it's heavily underrated. What a great comeback after the nightmare that was Test for Echo. I think it was just really good. All right. Time to move on to Snakes and Arrows. At least I think that's the name. B tier. This, even more than all these other albums, this one is literally the definition of mid. It's just mid. I'm sorry. It's really, really, really mid. I gotta tell you, this album isn't the worst album, but it is by far the most forgettable album. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put it in C tier just because it's so forgettable. I'm sorry. Like, it makes me want to die just listening to it. This is me when I'm listening to Snakes and Arrows. And it makes me fall asleep. Not a big fan. So, as you can see, since Signals and I guess Vapor Trails, Rush had not really produced like an actual masterpiece like they did with these guys until their final outing. Oh boy. Is it S+ tier? No, but man, it is S tier. What a great ending album. What a great song. What a great song album. I mean, this is Rush's last album, and man, they went out with a bang. They created an album that easily matches up with the rest of these guys. Clockwork Angels is just a fantastic album. I mean, it just really is. Everything from the concept to the writing, the instrumentation. I mean, even Geddy's vocals are top tier, despite this being the era of auto-tune. Geddy's vocals are still top tier. Man, this was a great last outing for Rush before, unfortunately, well, we all know what happened. I don't think I need to say it here. But man, what a great way to go out with a bang. Really appreciate it. So, that is my Rush albums ranking. Now, I bet a lot of people are going to disagree with this ranking, and a lot of people might agree with this ranking. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. Woo! I am going to end the video now. I really don't have anything else to say. So, I'm going to end it here. See ya.